The space station was alive with light and noise. Giant screens showed trade prices, ships landed and departed every few minutes, and hundreds of different alien races walked through the wide corridors. There were tall, insect-like traders with shiny armor, short lizard-like workers carrying heavy boxes, and floating creatures that hummed like music as they moved. Everyone had a purpose. Everyone was busy, but in one corner of the market district, away from the shining shops and food stalls, an old alien sat alone. His clothes were worn and torn, his skin pale and cracked with age. His large, tired eyes looked down at the empty plate in front of him. The stall owner stood with folded arms, shaking his head in anger. "You eat, but you never pay," the stall owner growled. "This time, you will not get away." Two alien guards stepped forward. They were tall, strong, with armor plates across their chests and glowing staffs in their hands. They were the law here, cold, merciless, and feared by everyone in the district. When they moved, other aliens made space. Nobody wanted trouble. The old alien tried to stand, but his legs shook. He leaned on the table for support. "Please," he said softly, his voice weak and trembling. I will pay. Just not today. Please, give me time." The guards laughed, a cruel, sharp sound. One of them pushed the old alien back down into his chair. "You have said that before, old one, but your time is finished. No more free food for useless mouths." Around the stall, many aliens stopped to watch. Some whispered to each other. Some smirked, amused by the sight. But nobody moved to help. In the great station, mercy was a rare thing. Everyone cared only for themselves. The stall owner waved his hand angrily. "Throw him out. Let him starve outside the walls. He brings no profit here." The guards grabbed the old alien by his arms. He cried out in pain, his frail body twisting under their strength. His empty eyes searched the crowd, as if begging someone, anyone, to speak for him. But the crowd stayed silent. A few laughed. Some turned away. For them, it was just another sad story. Another failure in the endless galaxy. And then someone stepped forward. A human. He was young compared to the others in the crowd, with plain travel clothes and a small bag slung across his shoulder. His boots were dusty, his face calm but sharp, and his eyes burned with something that was rare on the station: compassion. Most people ignored him because humans were still new in this part of space. Few races respected them yet, but now the human walked directly to the stall. He placed himself between the guards and the old alien. The guards stopped, surprised. They were not used to interference, especially not from a human. "What do you think you are doing?" one guard hissed, his voice cold. "Move aside. This is not your concern." The human didn't move. He looked at the stall owner, then at the weak old alien. His voice was steady, simple, and clear. "I'll pay his bill." The words fell like a stone into water. The whole stall grew quiet. The crowd whispered louder now. Some were shocked. Some laughed again. A human paying for that old waste? Foolish. Why would he care? Strange creatures, humans. The stall owner blinked. "You pay for him? Why?" His voice dripped with disbelief. The human shrugged lightly. "Because he's hungry. Because he needs it." He pulled a few shining credits from his pocket and placed them on the counter. This should cover his food, and more. The guards looked at each other, uncertain. They had expected begging, crying, maybe even fighting, but not this, not simple kindness. Slowly, they released the old alien's arms, though their eyes stayed hard. "You waste your money, human. He is not worth it." The old alien's body trembled as he tried to rise again. Its voice cracked, almost a whisper. He looked up at the human with wide, shining eyes that seemed older than the stars. You don't know what you have done." The human frowned. "I only paid your bill." But the old alien shook his head. His thin fingers clutched the human's hand tightly, as if holding on to life itself. "No," he said, with a strange, heavy tone. "It is more than that, much more." The crowd around them murmured. The guards stared, suspicious now. The stall owner grabbed the credits quickly, but could not hide his unease. Something about the old alien's words felt different, like a shadow creeping across the bright lights of the station. The human helped the old alien sit again and pushed the plate of food closer. The alien ate slowly, each bite filled with silent gratitude, but his glowing eyes never left the human's face. And the words he had spoken echoed in the human's mind like thunder. "You don't know what you have done." The old alien sat trembling, still holding the human's hand. His plate of food was half finished, but his glowing eyes never left the young man's face. Around them, the busy market of the station buzzed with whispers. Some aliens laughed softly, others shook their heads, and many simply stared at the human as if he had grown two heads. Humans were still rare in this part of the galaxy. Traders knew them as curious newcomers, tough but reckless, always ready to wander where they didn't belong. Most other species ignored them or treated them as children who had not yet learned the rules of the stars. But now this one human had done something no one else dared. He had interfered. The two guards still stood nearby. Their armor glowed faintly, their staffs humming with hidden energy. They stared at the human, their expressions hard and unreadable. Finally, one of them stepped forward, his heavy boots shaking the metal floor. "You should not have done that," the guard said, voice deep and sharp. "This old creature is nothing. Worthless, you paid his bill, but you bought his shame. Do you understand?" The human met the guard's cold stare. His face was calm, almost too calm. "I understand that he was hungry. That is all." The guard's lip curled. "You think you are noble, human, but nobility has no place here. The weak are left behind. That is the law of the stars." The human didn't answer. Instead, he turned back to the old alien. "Eat. You need your strength," he said softly. The alien's trembling fingers picked up another piece of food. He chewed slowly, his glowing eyes full of a strange mix of gratitude and sorrow. When he swallowed, his cracked lips formed words almost too quiet to hear. "You remind me of long ago. Long ago, before the galaxy turned dark." The human tilted his head. "What do you mean?" The old alien looked down, as if remembering painful memories. "I mean, you carry something rare, something almost forgotten. Compassion. Honor. It has been many lifetimes since I saw it." The words spread like fire through the crowd. Murmurs rose louder. Compassion, honor. Some aliens laughed harshly. Others frowned, disturbed. The guard's eyes narrowed. The stall owner, still clutching the credits the human had given, spat on the floor. "Enough of this nonsense. Take your food and leave, old one. And you, human, stay away from trouble, or it will swallow you too." The human ignored him. Instead, he leaned closer to the old alien. "Why do you say such things?" "What do you mean, long ago?" The old alien's eyes flickered, glowing brighter for a moment. His voice was heavy, as if each word cost him years of his life. "Because I know who you are. Not you, exactly, but your kind. Humans, the galaxy does not respect you yet, but I remember when the galaxy still had respect for courage, for those who chose to stand for others. And now, when I thought all hope was gone, here you are, a human who chooses." The human frowned, uneasy. I didn't choose anything. I just paid your bill. But the alien shook his head weakly. No. You chose me. And now the galaxy will choose you. The guards exchanged looks. One leaned close to the other, whispering in a language the human couldn't understand. Their glowing eyes shifted toward the old alien, then toward the human with something more than suspicion. Something like fear. The crowd slowly began to scatter, but the whispers followed the human like a shadow. Why would a human care? What does the old one mean? Chosen. The human sighed and tried to help the alien stand again. The alien's frail body leaned heavily on him, but his glowing eyes were steady now, almost burning. Come, the human said. Let's find you a place to rest. As they walked away from the stall, the guards blocked their path. They're glowing. Staffs hummed louder, sparks of energy running across the tips. You will not take him, one said firmly. He is marked. He belongs to the station law. And now, perhaps, so do you. The human tightened his grip on the old alien's arm. His voice stayed calm, but there was steel beneath it. I already paid for him. He's free to go. The guards' faces hardened. The market crowd slowed again, watching with wide eyes. Nobody spoke. Everyone knew the guards had power to kill. Everyone expected the human to step back, to give up. But he did. Single quotes, their voices low and dangerous. You have made a mistake, human. This is not just about food. This is about what he carries, about who he was. And now you stand in our way. The human said nothing. His eyes met theirs without fear. The old alien suddenly coughed, shaking in the human's arms. He pulled something from beneath his torn clothes, a small metallic token, glowing faintly with strange patterns. His hands trembled as he pressed it into the human's palm. Keep it, the alien whispered. It is yours now. You cannot turn back. The human looked down at the token, then back at the guards. Their eyes widened, their bodies stiffening. For the first time, they looked uncertain. What is this? The human asked quietly, the old alien's glowing eyes fixed on him. It is why they want me gone. It is why you must not let go. The token pulsed softly in the human's hand, as if alive. The crowd gasped, the guards stepped back. And the stall lights above flickered for a moment, as if the station itself had felt the power awaken. And in that heavy silence, the human realized something. This was no small act of kindness. This was the beginning of something far larger, something dangerous, something that would change everything. The market slowly emptied, but the memory of what had just happened lingered like smoke. Whispers carried through the corridors of the space station. The human. He touched the token. The old one has chosen. This will bring trouble. The human helped the frail alien down a quieter passage. The alien leaned heavily. On him, each step weak, but his glowing eyes never dimmed. They burned like twin lanterns, filled with secrets far older than the station itself. The human finally spoke. What is this thing you gave me? He opened his hand. The metallic token lay in his palm, glowing with faint blue lines that pulsed like a heartbeat. It was small, no larger than a coin, yet it felt heavy, almost alive. The old alien's voice was soft but firm. It is a key, and it is a burden. You must keep it safe. A key to what? The human asked. The alien shook his head. Too many doors, some you cannot imagine. Some you may not want to open. He coughed, a deep, painful sound that echoed in the narrow corridor. Long ago, my kind were guardians, protectors of knowledge and power too great for the greedy. We failed. We were hunted, forgotten, broken. I am the last. The human frowned. And now you're telling me it's my problem? The old alien's eyes softened. No, I am telling you. You already made your choice. When you stood between me and the guards, when you paid what others would not. The token knows. It answered you. The human glanced at the glowing object again. The blue lines seemed to shift beneath his gaze, forming patterns that almost looked like words, then vanishing. He closed his hand tightly. I don't understand any of this. You will, the alien said, or you will die trying. They reached a small rest area tucked away from the busy markets. Few aliens came here. It smelled of rust and old machines. The human helped the alien sit on a bench, then sat across from him. You need to tell me everything, the human said. The alien looked at him with tired, glowing eyes. There is no time for everything.
Us.
But I will tell you what matters. He spoke slowly, like a storyteller remembering ancient days. He told of the first wars, battles fought before humans even left their home planet. The galaxy had been ruled by empires that rose and fell in fire. The old aliens' kind had been guardians of a weapon or maybe knowledge that could end wars forever, or destroy everything if misused. For centuries, they kept it hidden, away from the greedy hands of kings and conquerors. But in the end, the aliens said with sorrow, we were betrayed. My order was broken. We scattered across the stars. I lived, but only as a shadow of what I was. The human leaned forward. And now the guards want you gone because of this. Because of the token. Yes, the alien whispered. The token is proof. Proof that I still live. Proof that the secret is not yet lost. They fear it. They fear me. And now, they fear you. The human sat back, silent. His heart pounded, but his face stayed calm. Why me? Why give it to me? I'm just a traveler. I didn't ask for this. The old alien smiled faintly, though his face was weary. Because you are human, and humans are strange. You care when others do not. You stand when others step aside. That is why I trust you. That is why the token chose you. In the shadows above, unseen by either of them, two small drone eyes hovered, recording everything. The guards were already reporting back to their commander. The human has the token, one drone transmitted. He is bonded. Then he must be watched. The commander's voice replied coldly. If he resists, he must be destroyed. Back in the rest area, the human noticed the alien shaking again. He offered him water, but the alien pushed it aside. No, listen carefully. They will come for me again, and they will come for you too. But you cannot give them the token. Promise me. The human nodded slowly. I promise. The aliens? Glowing eyes closed for a moment, relief softening his face. Good. Then I have given my burden to one who will not waste it. The human leaned back, the token warm in his pocket. He looked at the old alien, this stranger who seemed to carry the weight of an entire galaxy in his frail body. Something about him stirred a deep feeling of respect, pity, and a strange connection, as if fate itself had tied their paths together. But before he could speak again, a sound echoed down the corridor, the heavy boots of guards. The alien's eyes snapped open. They are coming. The human stood, fists tightening. Then let them. The old alien shook his head. No, not here. You must survive. Follow me. He rose with surprising strength and led the human through a hidden doorway behind the bench. The wall slid open, revealing a narrow passage filled with darkness and flickering lights. This station has secrets, the alien said as he limped forward. Passages only the old ones remember. They will not find us here, at least, not yet. The human followed, heart racing, mind burning with questions. The glowing token pulsed in his pocket like a heartbeat, and he realized something with chilling clarity. This was no accident. This was the beginning of a connection. A connection between a forgotten alien and a stubborn human. A connection that could change the galaxy. The hidden passage stretched into the belly of the station, narrow and dark. Rust covered the walls, and old wires dangled like vines. The air smelled of dust and oil, untouched for years. The human followed close behind the old alien, his footsteps echoing softly. The old alien's breathing was heavy, but his glowing eyes cut through the darkness like two faint lanterns. He moved slowly, yet with purpose, as if he had walked these forgotten halls many times before. Finally, they reached a small chamber. The walls were lined with strange marking symbols burned into the metal long ago. Broken crates and rusted tools lay scattered across the floor. A faint hum filled the air, like the heartbeat of the station itself. The old alien sat down against the wall, his body trembling from the effort. The human knelt beside him. "You need rest," he said. The alien shook his head. "No, you need answers." His glowing eyes fixed on the human. "Sit, listen, and remember, because once I am gone, you will be the only one who knows." The human hesitated, then sat across from him. His hand brushed the token in his pocket. Its glow, faint but steady. The alien began to speak. Long ago, before humans touched the stars, the galaxy was torn apart by war. Armies clashed, worlds burned, and countless lives were lost. At that time, my kind were not soldiers. We were guardians, keepers of balance. We carried no armies, no fleets. We carried knowledge. He gestured weakly to the markings on the walls. These symbols, they're memories of what we protected. A secret that could end all war, fuel endless destruction. The human leaned closer. What kind of secret? The old alien's voice lowered, as if afraid the walls themselves might be listening. A weapon, but not like any you imagine. It was not made to kill, but to control. To bend the will of entire species. A weapon of the mind. With it, an empire could rule forever. Without it, freedom was possible. The human frowned. "And your people guarded this?" "Yes," the alien whispered. "For centuries, we kept it hidden. Many tried to take it. Kings, warlords, even whole civilizations. But we never allowed it," till his voice broke. His eyes closed for a moment, filled with grief. "Until one of our own betrayed us. He gave away our secret. And the galaxy drowned in blood." The human felt a chill. He looked around the chamber at the old symbols burned into the metal. They seemed to shift under the dim light, telling stories too vast to grasp. "So what happened to the weapon?" The alien's glowing eyes opened again. "We destroyed it, tore, so we thought. But fragments remained. And those fragments became the tokens." The human's hand tightened around the small, glowing object in his pocket. "Like this one?" The alien nodded slowly. "Yes, that token carries a piece of the power we once guarded. It is both key and map. With enough of them, one could rebuild what was lost." The human's jaw tightened. "And the guards, they want this. They want control," the alien said bitterly. "The station's commander serves powers you do not yet know. They search for the tokens, hunting the last of my kind. That is why I hid. That is why they wanted me gone." Silence hung heavy. In the chamber, the human's mind raced. He had only come to this station to trade supplies, maybe find work. Now he was sitting in the dark with a dying alien, holding the key to something that could change the galaxy. Why give it to me? The human asked finally. Why not hide it? Destroy it? The alien's eyes softened. Because I saw what you did. You paid for one who could give you nothing in return. You chose compassion over profit, honor over fear. That is rare. Enough that I trust you more than I trust anyone else. The token saw it too. It answered to you. The human exhaled slowly. So, now what? I can't fight a whole station. I can't protect some ancient secret. The alien's voice was calm but firm. You already have. The moment you took the token, you became part of this story, and the story will not let you go. Before the human could reply, a sharp crack echoed through the chamber. Sparks rained from the ceiling. The hidden door behind them shuddered. The old alien's eyes narrowed. They found us. The human stood. Quickly, fists clenched. The guards. Yes, the alien whispered. They will not stop now. But listen, human. Even if they take me, you must survive. You must keep the token safe. The human shook his head. I'm not leaving you. The alien's glowing eyes softened again, almost like a smile. Then you are more human than I ever hoped. The chamber door groaned, metal bending under force. Shouts echoed in the passage beyond. The guards were close, too close. The alien raised his trembling hand. A faint light glowed in his palm, forming strange shapes in the air. The human stared. It was a map, flickering, incomplete, but pointing toward a place deep in the stars. Follow. This, the alien said urgently, it will lead you to others. Maybe even to the truth, but you must go. The human stared at the map, then at the old alien. His chest tightened. He didn't want to leave, but he knew the alien was right. The door burst open. Guards stormed in, weapons raised. The alien pushed the human toward another hidden passage. Go now. The human hesitated, then ran, the token burning in his pocket, the map glowing in his mind. Behind him, the alien's voice echoed one last time. The human ran through the narrow passage, his boots striking metal with every step. The walls shook. Behind him, as the guards forced their way into the chamber where he had left the old alien, sparks rained from the ceiling, and the echo of shouts followed him like a storm, his hand pressed against his pocket. The token was warm, pulsing with a faint glow, almost like it was alive. Every beat of its light matched the pounding of his heart. He wanted to turn back. He wanted to fight. But the alien's last words echoed in his mind. Protect it. Protect them all. The hidden passage twisted sharply, leading into another corridor lit only by flickering yellow lamps. The human slowed, his breath heavy. He pressed against the wall, trying to listen. The shouts had faded, but the silence was worse. Silence meant the guards were planning. Meanwhile, in the chamber, the alien guards surrounded the old alien. He was still seated against the wall, his body frail. But his glowing eyes burned brighter than ever. The commander entered, a tall alien with black armor, his face hidden behind a smooth mask of silver. His voice was deep and cold. You should have vanished quietly, old one. Instead, you give us trouble. You give us a human. The old alien coughed weakly, but smiled. Yes, a human. Strange, isn't it? The youngest race among the stars, yet they carry the oldest strength. The commander's head tilted. Strength. Foolishness, maybe. That human has taken the token, hasn't he? The old alien said nothing. His silence was enough. The commander's voice grew sharper. Then we will hunt him. And when we take him, we will take the token. You will die forgotten, and his kind will join you in failure. The old alien only whispered, perhaps, or perhaps he will surprise you. The commander raised his hand. Take him. The human had made it to a wider corridor, one of the lower decks of the station. It was quieter here, but not empty. Traders, workers, and travelers passed by, carrying goods or hurrying to their ships. The human kept moving, trying to blend in. But it was impossible to hide. He was human different, noticeable. Then he saw them. 2 guards stepped into the corridor ahead, their glowing staffs blocking the way. Their armor hummed with energy, their eyes fixed on him. The human stopped, scanning quickly. A small group of workers moved aside, whispering nervously. The guards didn't care about the crowd. They only cared about him. "You carry what is not yours," one of them said. His voice was sharp, metallic. "Give us the token, and we will let you live." The human shook his head slowly. "It doesn't belong to you either." The guard's armor flashed with light. "Then you choose death." They advanced. The human's mind raced. He had no weapon, no armor. But he had his hands, his speed, and his will. As the first guard swung his staff, the human ducked low. The weapon cracked against the wall, sending sparks flying. The human shoved forward, slamming his shoulder into the guard's chest. The alien stumbled back, surprised. The second guard raised his weapon, but the human grabbed a metal pipe from the floor and swung hard. The blow struck the staff, knocking it aside. The crowd gasped and scattered, screaming. Alarms blared through the corridor. The guards recovered quickly, their eyes glowing with fury. They struck again, faster this time. The human blocked one blow with the pipe, but the force knocked him to the ground. Pain shot through his arm, but he rolled quickly. Avoiding the next strike, the token in his pocket glowed brighter, almost guiding him. The human felt a strange strength in his chest. Not physical, but deeper, like resolve hardening into steel. He stood again, pipe in hand, and faced the guards. "I'm not giving it to you," he said firmly. Before the guards could strike again, a new sound filled the corridor, the heavy steps of more soldiers. The crowd screamed louder as the commander appeared at the far end, his silver mask reflecting the flashing lights. All of this, the commander's voice boomed, for a single human, for a worthless act of pity. "Do you even understand what you hold, boy?" The human tightened his grip on the pipe. His voice was steady. "No, but I know you shouldn't have it." The commander's head tilted slightly. "Then you are braver than I expected." "Foolish, but brave." He raised his hand. The guards spread out, surrounding the human. Their staffs glowed, humming with deadly energy. The human's chest heaved. Escape seemed impossible now. But he refused to drop the token then. From deep within the station, an explosion shook the walls. Alarms screamed louder. Smoke filled the corridor. The guards staggered, momentarily distracted. The human didn't waste the chance. He swung the pipe again, knocking one guard down, and sprinted into the smoke. Shouts followed him, weapons fired. But he kept running, vanishing into the chaos of the lower decks. Back in the chamber, the old alien felt the vibration of the explosion. His glowing eyes closed briefly. He whispered, almost to himself, "Good. He survives." The commander turned sharply, furious. "Find him. Hunt him down." The guards rushed to obey, their heavy boots shaking the floor. The commander glared. At the old alien, "You think this human can protect the galaxy? He is nothing." The old alien smiled weakly. "So was I once." The human finally stopped in a deserted maintenance bay, lungs burning, heart racing. He leaned against a wall, the token glowing in his hand. It pulsed stronger now, almost as if it were alive, almost as if it had chosen him fully. He stared at it, sweat running down his face. "What are you?" he whispered. The token's glow spread across his palm, forming faint lines, almost like a map, a destination, a call, and the human realized this was only the beginning. The maintenance bay was silent, except for the human's ragged breathing. He pressed his back against the cold wall, trying to steady himself. His clothes were torn, his arms ached from the fight. and smoke from the explosion still clung to his skin. In his hand, the token glowed brighter than ever. Its blue lines shifted across the surface like moving rivers, forming strange patterns. As the humans stared at it, the lines shaped themselves into a small image ship. Not just any ship, but one hidden deep within the station. A forgotten vessel, the human whispered to himself. It wants me to find this. Heavy footsteps echoed from the corridors outside. The guards were hunting him again. The commander's cold voice carried through the speakers above. Human, you cannot run forever. The station belongs to us. Give us the token, and perhaps we will let you leave alive. The human clenched his fist around the glowing object. Not a chance. He moved quickly, following the faint directions the token displayed. The lines shifted each time he turned, guiding him like a compass. He passed through dark tunnels, old service lifts, and forgotten storage rooms where no one else dared to go. The deeper he went, the older the station became. Rusted walls, broken lights, and silence that felt heavy, like the place had been abandoned for centuries. Finally, he found himself in front of a sealed door. It was covered in dust and strange markings, almost the same symbols he had seen in the hidden chamber with the old alien. The token glowed brighter, pulsing like a heartbeat. The human raised it toward the door. The blue light spread across the metal, tracing the symbols until they lit up. With a deep rumble, the door slid open. Behind it was a hangar. The hangar was small, hidden far beneath the main station. And there, resting on the platform, was a ship unlike any the human had ever seen. Its design was old, far older than the sleek trade vessels of the market above. Its hull was silver gray, scarred with age, but glowing faintly with the same blue lines as the token. The ship almost seemed alive, breathing in the dark. The human stepped closer, awe in his eyes. So this is what you wanted me to find. The token pulsed again, and the ship's ramp lowered slowly, as if welcoming him. But before he could enter, a sound echoed behind him. Boots. He turned. The commander stood at the entrance of the hangar, flanked by a dozen guards. Their staffs glowed, humming with deadly power. The commander's silver mask reflected the ship's light. His voice was calm, almost amused. Impressive. You found it? But it does not belong to you, human. Give me the token, and I may let you live to see your world again. The human's grip tightened on the glowing object. I don't think so. The commander stepped forward, his guards raising their weapons. You don't even know what you are holding. That ship is older than your entire species. It was built for my kind, not yours. You will never command it. The human's heart pounded, but he didn't move back. Maybe not, but I won't let you have it either. The guards advanced. The human ran up the ramp into the ship. Inside, the air felt different, clean, humming with quiet energy. The walls glowed with faint blue lines, reacting to the token in his hand. He reached the control seat at the front. Strange symbols covered the console, glowing faintly. He didn't understand them, but as he placed the token in the slot at the center, the ship came alive. Lights flashed, engines roared faintly, and the blue glow spread across the entire vessel. The commander shouted from outside, "Stop him!" The guards rushed forward, firing bursts of energy. Bolts struck the ramp, shaking the ship, but the vessel responded, shields flaring to life, deflecting the attacks. The ramp closed with a heavy thud. Inside, the human gripped the controls. The symbols on the console shifted, changing into shapes that almost resembled words he could understand. One word glowed brighter than all the rest. Escape. He pressed it. The hangar shook violently. The ship's engines roared, older than any living memory, but still powerful. The floor cracked as energy surged beneath the vessel. The commander screamed orders, his guards scattering. Stop him. Destroy the ship. But it was too late. With a burst of light, the ship lifted off the platform, smashing through the weekend. Hangar doors. Alarms screamed across the entire station as metal tore apart and debris rained down. The ship shot into the void of space. Inside the cockpit, the human gripped the seat tightly as stars filled the window. His chest heaved with relief, but the token glowed even brighter, projecting a star map above the console. It marked a single location, far beyond the station. Deep into uncharted space, the human stared at it, still catching his breath. So, this is where you want me to go. Then his thoughts turned back to the old alien. He pictured those glowing eyes, full of sorrow and trust. The alien had sacrificed himself to give the human this chance. The human whispered softly, "I won't waste it, I promise." But he was not safe yet. On the radar, blips appeared, ships launching from the station. The commander was not giving up. The human tightened his grip on the controls. The old vessel's engines hummed, ready to jump. The map above pulsed again, urging him forward. He took a deep breath and muttered, "Let's see what you can really do." He pressed the glowing command. The ship's engines flared with light, brighter than any human ship could produce. In an instant, the vessel jumped into the stars, vanishing from the commander's scanners. Back on the station, the commander stood in the ruined hangar, his silver mask cracked at the edge. His voice was sharp with rage. "Find him," he ordered coldly. "No matter how far he runs. The human carries the key, and I will tear the stars apart to take it back." Far away, the ship soared through the unknown, guided by the tokens. Glow. The human sat at the controls, his eyes on the map, his mind racing. He didn't know what waited at the marked destination. He didn't know why the token had chosen him, but he knew one thing with certainty. This was no longer about paying an old alien's food bill. This was about the future of the galaxy. The stars stretched endlessly across the black ocean of space. The human sat inside the ancient ship, the controls glowing faintly under his hands. The token pulsed in its slot, casting blue light across the cockpit. Above him, the star map shimmered, pointing the way forward. But he wasn't calm. His heart still raced from the escape. His mind replayed the old alien's last words. Protect it. Protect them all. He gripped the console tighter. Protect who? Protect what? He whispered. But the token gave no answer. It only pulsed, steady and alive. Hours passed as the ship traveled deeper into uncharted space. The human expected pursuit, but the vessel's strange jump drive had carried him far beyond the station. Alone now, only the silence of space surrounded him. Then, slowly, the ship began to slow. Its light shifted, guiding him toward a distant point in the darkness. At first, it looked like a small star. But as he drew closer, he realized it was not a star at all. It was a planet, dark, silent, floating alone. Its surface glowed faintly with the same blue lines as the token and the ship. It looked ancient, sleeping, but still alive. The human's eyes widened. "This is where you wanted me to go." The ship descended through the thin atmosphere, landing on a cracked surface of stone and dust. The blue lines ran across the ground, like rivers of light, forming patterns too vast to understand. The ramp lowered. The human stepped out carefully, the air thin but breathable. The silence was heavy, almost sacred. He walked slowly, guided by the glow beneath his boots. The token pulsed in his pocket, pulling him forward. He followed it across the empty plains until he reached the mouth of a vast cavern. Its walls glowed faintly, ancient carvings telling stories of wars, guardians, and betrayal. The human entered. Inside, the cavern opened into a massive chamber. At its center stood a towering structure, half machine, half stone. It hummed softly, like a giant heart. Blue light ran across its surface, feeding into the ground, into the planet itself. The human's breath caught. He could feel the power. In the air, this was no simple machine. This was the secret the old alien had spoken of. He stepped closer. The token burned hot in his hand. Without thinking, he placed it into a slot on the structure. The ground trembled. Light exploded across. The walls, and then voices. Thousands of voices, whispering all at once. Not from outside, but inside his mind. Guardian. Chosen. Human. He stumbled back, gripping his head. The voices were not angry, not kind, but endless. They poured into him like a river of memory. He saw images, entire armies kneeling. Worlds burning, stars collapsing, and the weapon itself bending minds like glass. He gasped, falling to his knees. No, I don't want this. But the voices continued. Choice. Must choose. Protect or control. Suddenly, he understood. This machine was the core of the weapon, or perhaps the mind behind it. The tokens were fragments of its power. Together, they could rebuild it fully. And now it asked him, should he awaken it or bury it forever? His hands shook. If he awakened, he could end wars, protect billions, maybe even bring peace to the galaxy. But if it fell into the wrong hands, it would enslave everything. He thought of the commander, his silver mask, his cold voice. He thought of the old alien, frail but full of hope. He thought of the crowd in the market, laughing as the aliens starved. This was not about one planet. This was about all of them. The ground shook again. A voice echoed through the chamber, not from the machine, but from behind him. You found it. The humans spun around. The commander stood at the entrance of the cavern, his silver mask cracked, but his presence unbroken. Behind him, guards fanned out, weapons raised. Somehow, they had followed. The commander's voice was sharp, filled with triumph. You are foolish, human. You don't know what you hold, but I do. Give me the token, and I will take what is mine. The human's chest tightened. He glanced at the glowing machine, then back at the commander. This doesn't belong to you. The commander raised his staff. Then you will die here. The guards stepped forward. The human took a deep breath. His choice was clear now. Not easy, not safe, but clear. He placed both hands on the machine, feeling its endless power surge through him. The token pulsed one final time, brighter than the sun. The voices screamed. Choice! Choice! The human shouted, his voice echoing through the cavern. Then I choose to protect. Light exploded. The cavern shook violently. The machine blazed with energy, its blue lines surging outward across the planet. The guards were thrown back, their weapons useless. The commander staggered, raising his arms to shield his eyes. The human felt the power tearing through him, but he held on. He forced it not to control, not to enslave, but to hide. To bury itself again where no one could use it. The machine obeyed. Its light collapsed inward, folding like a star imploding. The token in his hand shattered into dust, and then silence. When the human opened his eyes, the cavern was empty. The machine was gone, buried deep within the planet once more. The guards lay unconscious, their weapons broken. Only the commander remained standing. His mask cracked, his eyes burning with fury. You think you've won, he hissed. This isn't over. You cannot fight forever. The human, exhausted but unbroken, stepped forward. Maybe not. But I will fight as long as I have to. The commander's glare burned into him before he finally retreated into the shadows. The human returned to the ancient ship. The token was gone, but the vessel still hummed with life. As he sat in the pilot's seat, he looked out at the stars. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, full of enemies, but also full of choices. He whispered softly, remembering the old alien's words, "Protect them all." The ship's engines roared, lifting him into the stars once again. And for the first time, he knew this was only the beginning of his story.